Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Becca and this is my channel where we talk about all the houseplant things. And today we are doing some repotting while talking about all of the life things. We're gonna be talking about life transitions, motherhood, identity, so many different things in that realm. And also thank you so much to Aura for sponsoring this video. I'm really excited to have this chat with you guys because I feel like there's a lot of things that I've wanted to say but haven't felt like I have the words to say. This is one of the plants that needs to be done because as you can see, we have a root growing way down and it has actually broken the pot, which I'm pretty sad about because these pots were not cheap. And I don't know if this can be fixed. And this really was just a result of the plant outgrowing this pot, and I don't know how I'm gonna get it out of here actually without damaging more roots. I don't know, because the pot is sort of oddly shaped. I'd be willing to bet that the plant contoured itself to the shape of this pot based on the, looks like noodles. The roots are so densely packed in there. This is one of the plants that I got from Equigenera almost a year ago, actually. I should do a 1-year update on these plants. That would be pretty fun because they are all doing super well besides one, but the rest of them are doing pretty well. I'm going to be transitioning this plant either into this pot or a different pot that I have another plant in to do like a little bit of a pot roulette because I also need to repot my Thai constellation and I'm going to put it in this big old pot. Both of these came from my local nursery in town. They always have the most beautiful pottery. I believe that I mentioned that I asked you guys for questions on Instagram and I sort of organized them to be themes, but I just wanted to organize my thoughts for this topic because I feel like it could very easily go off the rails. What's one thing in 2024 that you refuse to let happen or plan to cut out? So I think this is kind of like an intentions question, like what am I hoping for the year? Sorry, I felt like my camera angle was not great. I'm gonna say that I'm cutting out clutter. I'm cutting out holding on to things out of obligation. That's pretty largely my theme this year. I think every year I try to choose a word, and this year, I don't know if this is the word that I'm choosing necessarily, but it's just the theme of like decluttering, of less. Adding another person to your household is gonna add stuff, right? So we definitely have more stuff this year than we did last year. And so with that, I'm just trying to combat overwhelm with the amount of things around me. So if you want to follow along on that little journey, I'm posting videos like decluttering and oh my god, my finger is stuck. Okay, it's not stuck. We're gonna slowly pull it out. Okay, that was really scary. I always really dislike potting up out of like hard pots because then you can't squeeze the plant to like pull it out. There it is. Oh, I feel like I just birthed a baby. That was definitely ready for the repot. As you can see, lots of roots there. What do you think the future of your channel and work life look like? And how do we support your channel right now? So this is such a difficult question because I really don't know. Like I have gone into this whole journey of being a working mom with expectations of myself that I was not able to meet. And I'm not sure how many people really could meet them. I do have a bad habit of just creating expectations for myself, and then being really disappointed when inevitably they don't work because of course I have unrealistic expectations. I do have goals for this channel still and hopes and dreams for its growth and all of the things that I want for it. One of them being hitting 100,000 subscribers. And outside of numbers and goals like that, I really just want to continue to teach about houseplants and how to have them as a part of your life in a sustainable way, and not, obviously environmentally sustainable, but more so in just a way that makes sense for different lifestyles, busier lifestyles, just normal people. Something that I guess I'm sort of saying is that my channel is for normal people. This is plant care for normal people. You know, we're not people who have hours and hours to dedicate to our plants every single day, every single week. Of course, I allocate a bit more time to my plants than the average person probably, just because this is my job to upkeep my collection and make content like this. But generally, I operate under the assumption that people have maybe 1 to 2 hours a week at most to dedicate to their plants. So I really want to continue to inform my content with that in mind, like just knowing that normal people just have plants because they like them, not because they are, I don't know, obsessed or have all the time in the world to take care of them. I'm gonna move this down here. You're not gonna be able to see, but I think it'll make it a lot easier for me to finish putting the soil in. The plant is sort of like twisting toward the light, so I'm going to go with that and continue to train it. I have a little tie on it holding all of these leaves up and together. As far as my ability to put time into working on this, I don't know. I feel like it's shifting quite a bit because I am with Nora most of the time. Nora is my daughter, and we have found a childcare solution for her so that while I'm working or doing stuff like this, I don't have to be stressed and kind of half present because I'm worried about her or something like that. So thankfully we were finally able to find a solution for that. And I was expecting to be a lot more kind of sad about it, but it's been really good to not have to split my attention. I think since that has been solidified, I'm feeling a lot more confident in my abilities to continue to do this for work. For a second there, I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue doing YouTube, I'm not gonna lie, because it just felt really difficult to do this while not showing her. I think all the time, like if I did show her, it would make this a lot easier, but for lots of personal reasons, I've chosen not to do that, and I'm happy to not do that. But it does just make it harder when I can't just hold her while I'm doing plant chores and stuff like I normally would, whereas when I'm filming, I have to sort of put her somewhere else. And in this case, she's with responsible adults who can take really good care of her. So I'm happy about that we found a solution. Somebody asked me if there's going to be like a part 2 to my houseplant book and things like that, and I definitely do have dreams to write another houseplant book, but I think with recent events, like just with my life changing so much, I wonder if it would be more about plants in our lives and like how that works, and instead of like how to care for plants. I mean, obviously it would be both, but I've been thinking a lot about how I can tie in motherhood and just having something else in your life besides plants, and like practical tips on caring for plants when they're not the only thing in your life. I don't know, I've been putting a lot of thought into it in that regard as well. She's been repotted. Now we're on to the question of which of these 2 pots to put this next plant in. I feel like they would hold similar soil volume, but with how rapidly these roots are growing, I do think I'm gonna go with this one and then save this one for a different plant. Okay, so this next question is, what things in your plant routine have you had to adapt because of motherhood? Slash, like, what does my plant care routine look like now that I am considering another person in them? I think routine has always been something for me that was hard to keep. It was always difficult for me to be really regular in anything that I did. And not that having a kid changed that about me, but it kind of made me realize that having a routine is extremely beneficial. If not for her, then for me, just to feel sane or feel like something in life is predictable. I just need to rip this bottom thing off. It's toast. I don't know how this is gonna work. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna try to remove a lot of the soil from the top here. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have to cut this. Wow. This is really turning out differently than I thought it would. That definitely would not have come out on its own. I did have to break that pot. That makes me feel better. Seeing all this, like the roots were coming back up. A big thing that I have started to do again in regards to plant care and making it possible with a baby, doing a little bit at a time. Honestly, that has been life-changing. I'm doing a video right now where I'm doing like 1 plant chore a day, and it's been amazing because I feel accomplished like when I set the bar low like that. I'm definitely a person who likes to set the bar really high, and I have had to change that significantly. There's a question in here like what about my mindset has shifted, like what parts of my identity has shifted, and that is a big part of that. Like I have had to really lower my expectations of myself as far as output goes in productivity, because life just looks different and productivity just has a different font now, if you will. I made a video with Aura last year when I was really in the depths of pregnancy. Aura was a really wonderful tool for me to use during that time, all the way up until now. Aura is basically an all-in-one app that has everything from meditations to life coaching, CBT, breathwork, spirituality, all of those different types of things you can find on Aura. I really like it because it just reminds me to take a step back each day, to do something for myself, even if it is as small as listening to a 15-minute meditation. They have meditations for very specific things, but also lots of general things. So no matter what life stage you're in, I think that Aura is a really great tool to use to have just in your back pocket whenever you need a moment. There is a specific person on Aura. Her name is Heather Gilmartin, and she has a meditation that has some affirmations in it that really spoke to me, especially in the season of motherhood. Some of the affirmations are, I'm doing enough, taking care of myself helps my family, which is incredible for me to hear that. Like, it is so important for me to remember that taking care of myself isn't actually that selfish. It's going to make me a better parent. I will forgive myself when I make mistakes, and resting is just as valuable for me as it is for others. Those are just some really amazing messages that I tell myself throughout the day, and of course while I'm listening to this meditation. But also Aura makes a curated playlist for you each week. And also to note, it's not just an audio app, there is also live sessions via video that you can join. So if you would like to add a little bit more peace in your life, you can try out Aura for free. You can check the link in the description box below. The first 500 people who sign up will get the free trial and 25% off. That looks really good. This was the perfect size. I think this would have been too small if I did the other pot, so I'm really glad with this choice. Okay, does everybody remember my Anthurium regale, which was struggling for so many years? It currently has 2 leaves and 1 on the way. So that is extremely exciting. I did my little technique where I put it in a plastic or glazed pot, and I put moss around the base. It's grown so much and all the moss has fallen off. And then I put it in my cabinet, and it has done incredible. It has been so happy and healthy. Like, I'm so happy with the way that this plant has had the greatest turnaround ever. And I think that this pot is going to give it maybe slightly more room. I don't know if it's gonna be that big of an impact, but I do like the look of the white pot because all of the plants in the top of my cabinet are in white pots except for this one. So I'm kind of trying to go with a theme in there. I didn't think that I would be a themed pot girly really, but I mean, then again, I do have mostly terracotta pots in here. So I guess it makes sense. I have a white cabinet, I want white pots in it. I think it just looks really nice and put together. The roots are starting to grow out the bottom, and I don't know, after seeing the other 3D pot situation, I don't want to have to rip this one up, so hopefully I can get the plant out without having to do that. But yeah, so going back to this question, like, what has been the hardest adjustment? Has your identity shifted significantly? Are you taking care of yourself? Those types of things. To start, what has been the hardest adjustment of motherhood? I honestly think it's just been the lack of sleep. Like, honestly, if I had to put something, like put my finger on the one thing that has felt the hardest, it's that. I, for some reason, just did not. I forgot that babies don't really sleep, or they do sleep, but when they're sleeping, it can be hard for you to sleep because for a number of reasons. You could be awake. Maybe you're anxious about them. Maybe you are, I don't know. Mostly for me, it's anxiety. I do deal with anxiety and depression in real life. So, you know, of course, I have to deal with postpartum anxiety and depression as well. So it's kind of like a familiar friend. Like, I kind of know what that feels like to have anxious thoughts and all of that kind of stuff. But it's definitely not fun in the flavor of postpartum. And I'm not a person who operates well without a lot of sleep, and so I would say big adjustment there. Also the adjustment of just, as I said before, not being able to accomplish things and having to just sort of shift what a successful day looks like in my mind. Like, I have to significantly shift that for myself, because if not, I will feel like a failure. And the truth is, I'm not a failure. I am a mother who has all of these other things to worry about. But in my mind, you know, it's not a good enough excuse to not accomplish as much as I used to, or to have the same amount of output. So that's been honestly pretty tough for me to reconcile with, just my scheduling looking different, my expectations of self. I used to really kind of identify with working a lot and being a person who accomplished a lot, and I do still feel like that is me, but it just has to take a back seat, and I just wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting the amount of change that would be required of me to do this. And it's not that I'm upset to be making these changes. I'm happy to. My daughter is more than worth it. She's incredible, and I love being her mom. I think that I wasn't expecting to love being a mom as much as I do. Someone asked me, like, you know, how did you know that you wanted to be a mom? How did you know that your partner was the one? And gosh, I always wanted to be a parent. There was a point in time where I thought to myself that if I didn't end up being a parent, that I would be okay with that, but I would really prefer to be a parent. So it's kind of always been on my mind. I'm the oldest sibling, so I've been around little kids and taking care of kids. And I just remember always thinking, like, this is gonna be so much better when it's my own kid. And it's true, it really has been so much better when it was my own. I just have absolutely adored being a mother. It's kind of hard for it to not completely take over your entire identity. And I think that I used to kind of snub my nose at women who made being a mom their entire personality, but now I totally get it, because it does feel all consuming, and it does feel like it requires everything from you sometimes. I imagine that when Nora's a little bit older, maybe I won't feel like that as much. Maybe I'll feel like I can focus on my career a little bit more. But right now, what feels good is just pouring as much time into her as I can, while somehow maintaining some semblance of self, which I've tried to do by, you know, continuing to care for my plants. I haven't been able to do a ton of crafting, which honestly, I feel like crafting is much more of a release for me than plants. Like, my plants are kind of a passive thing. It's mostly just caring for them and watering them, repotting them sometimes, whereas crafting and sewing and doing stuff like that feels a lot more hands-on, and like, I don't know what the word is. I can't think of any words now, like my brain is fried, but yeah, it just feels more hands-on, and it kind of gets me out of my own head a lot better than plants these days. I would really like to spend more time doing stuff like that now that we do have a childcare situation figured out for Nora. And of course, I love filming that kind of stuff, and so, you know, if I film it, it's technically work, so I don't have to necessarily feel guilty about being away from her, which I did deal with a lot of guilt for finding a childcare situation. But I've been so much happier, and I feel so much more myself now that I do have just a few minutes, or not a few minutes, a few hours in a day to just like get my stuff done so I can be fully present with her. So I guess in a way that's how I'm taking care of myself, is utilizing that, and also just being kind to myself. As I said in the aura section, the meditation that I've been listening to, the affirmations, I have them written down on my phone because they were so, like, the first time I heard it, I was just like, wow, this is exactly what I needed to hear. I will forgive myself when I make mistakes, taking care of myself helps my family, and resting is just as valuable for me as it is for others. Those three sentiments honestly have just been incredible for me to hear. So I'm really thankful for that. Other than that, like, self-care type of stuff, I'm still taking antidepressants. I did have a little bit of a time where I stopped taking them, mostly because I just kept forgetting, and I went on a trip, all these things, and it caused a really big fluctuation for me, and I was feeling really, really low for a while there. But I think things are balancing out now, and I'm really glad that I do have that as a tool, because it has helped me feel so much better. Yeah, like I said earlier, when I'm feeling better, or I guess like the meditation says, when I'm feeling better and I'm taking care of myself, I can better take care of my family. And I definitely see that fully like living out in me just in the last couple of days, having Nora in childcare and just feeling so good about it. Someone asked about making mom friends, and making mom friends was one of the best things that I did. When Nora was like 7 weeks, I think I went to my first mom group thing, or maybe she was 8 weeks. Anyway, I went to a mom group and I met some other moms, and it was just really nice to just chat with them and just kind of feel like a human again. And I meet up on every Friday. So it's a really nice regular thing to look forward to. And it's just so fun to watch everybody's kids grow. Like there's a couple babies who are younger than Nora now in the group, and it's just so cute to see them. And like, I don't know, we're watching each other's babies grow, and it's just the best. But also, if you're looking for something, your local library probably has a lot of stuff, like a lot of resources and events. Ours does for sure. And then also Facebook has been great. I found a lot through Facebook. Like there's probably like 10 or 12 mom groups in Columbia, Missouri, where I currently live. So there's something for everybody, and I would really suggest putting yourself out there, because it was so hard for me to make friends before becoming a mom, because what did we really like have in common? Like there wasn't really a common ground to start from, whereas now we're all mothers and so or parents or whatever, and we can definitely relate on that and like chat about that. We all have a birth story. We all have a funny story from our baby being goofy. Which, speaking of, somebody asked, what has been the best joy and motherhood moment this week? And have we started to see Nora's personality? I'm gonna say this morning was really sweet. When we woke up, Nora was laying in bed with me, and we were just like staring at each other, smiling, and like she was like touching my face. Any moment where I hear her giggle is just the best moment ever. I don't know, it just, everything feels right whenever she's happy and I can like see her smiling. And we spent so much time since she was a preemie, we spent so much time with her like sleeping all the time. So she took a while to smile, but ever since she started smiling, she has not stopped. So every time someone meets her, they tell us how beautiful she is and how smiley she is. She's just very social, like as far as her personality goes. We don't know much about her yet. We're still getting to know her in that way. But one of the things that I'm just most excited for in this motherhood journey, this upcoming thing, is just seeing her personality blossom and getting to know her and finding out what she likes and doesn't like. I think that is truly going to be so fun and fulfilling, and doing things that I love with her and eventually doing things that she loves with her. It's just gonna be such a wonderful journey, and I literally cannot imagine my life without her. You know, I talked in my postpartum video on my vlog channel about, basically it was like the 4th trimester postpartum experience, and I think that I talked about how we can get some intrusive thoughts of like, what did I do to my life? Like, what the heck? And you know, of course that happens in those really overwhelming moments, but then it's overshadowed completely when she smiles, or like something really funny happens, or you see her taste a strawberry for the first time. Yeah, it's just cool knowing that like I'll get to experience everything for the first time again with her. It's really special. That's what I'm looking forward to in my motherhood journey. Somebody asked that to close out. Just getting to experience everything for the first time with her is going to be so special. I love her so much. It's been an incredible journey and incredibly difficult. I feel like it was really downplayed how hard this can be. I mean, definitely you hear from people online talking about how being a parent is hard, but I thought in my mind it was like, oh, it's logistically hard because you have a child to take care of. But there's a lot of physical and emotional and hormonal things that happen, especially for women, that I just didn't know and didn't expect or anticipate. So I think all of that has been difficult, and taking care of Nora is like the easiest part of being a mom. You know what I mean? It's everything else that makes it hard. So yeah, if you have a village, thank them, love on them, because it is really hard raising a baby without that. We are building our village, but because we don't live near family, it's incredibly hard. So if you are like us and you don't have that kind of familial support, I completely understand how hard that is, and my heart goes out to you. And I would just suggest getting into mom groups and parent groups as much as you can, because that's what I've done and it has helped a lot to not feel so lonely. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed hearing a little bit of plant and motherhood chat. I hope that this resonated with someone, and if not, like if you don't have kids or you don't want kids or whatever, thank you for watching this and maybe learning ways that you can support your friends who do have kids or want to have kids, because it can be a really lonely time. And I think that what we can do, the best thing we can do to support each other is to just learn about each other's experiences. And I'm happy to share my story, and I cannot wait to hear more about your experiences. So if you want to share, if you feel comfortable, I would love to continue the conversation in the comments down below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you like the motherhood chats, I do plan on doing more of this kind of stuff on my vlog channel, in my daily vlogs or whatever. I'll probably chit chat about this stuff more over there. But yeah, I do think that it is important to also acknowledge here that like there is a life outside of plants. We love them, but there's also so much more going on. And yeah, we're not robots who just repot plants. We're also people who deal with real things. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much to Aura for sponsoring, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.